Hey everyone, welcome to NieR Replicant. Now, I want to point out with this game, I have played a bit of it. If you go, I'm going to just jump into the options menu here quickly before it changes again. I did start playing this on my YouTube channel a while back. If you go back there, back when I did Let's Play stuff, you'll find a playlist of it. I stopped when I started doing live streams, mainly because I was focusing also on other things, but the problem I had with this game wasn't that I didn't like it. I loved this game. I loved this game when it originally came out. I loved Automata. For me, it was more of a fact I already played it, because I originally played the original one that was out on the PlayStation 3 at the time. So there was this one bit, yeah, where obviously you're on the ship and that was obviously cut out from the original, and this has a different ending once you finish all the other routes, but most of it was just the same game, and I was just getting a bit somewhat bored with it because I already played it before. Anyway, let's just jump into it now. But I haven't actually gotten to the new ending. I have done the ship bit, but let's jump into this. I got the first ending. What do you guys think? Do you prefer the story of Daddy NieR or Brother NieR?
Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time.
Aww.
Anyway.
Release the waifu! She's gonna be hungry. She's probably been stuck in that thing for so long. The sound of rain fills the village. Oh yeah, another thing that annoyed me because it was always a constant amount of reading. The steep cliff that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin wisps of smoke and steam from huts as the village huddled in their homes, awaited out the rain. A single child, however, had a brave and downpour and was now wandering slowly towards the wooden hawk-shaped weather veil at the center of town. The wanderer reached the vein, which had existed for as long as any could remember, and started the child's face with... You have to forgive me, I'm dyslexic, so reading isn't really my strong suit. Delicate and finesse. Like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck, those traits combined with pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the beak turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then The child blinked, rain slowly dropped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. Come on! Come on! The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the veil slowly cracked to life. Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly towards the east. East? Really? Before the vine could move again, a jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall around. Oh no, they found me. A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Though the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before the voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kaine! The voice belonged to Diamond? Worst of all the bullies in the area. As Kaine struggled to stand, a final stone came skidding through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from a cut above her eye and blurred her vision as she couldn't make out the shape of Diamond and his usual gang of idiots. The boys seemed to taken aback for a moment by Kaine's seemingly indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained her bravo something. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her. Oh, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentors' parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of their children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by separation and fear, Kaine was something to be hated and, if possible, destroyed. I didn't say you could leave, freak. Dimios' words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. He couldn't hurt me, she lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me, he can't hurt me, he can't hurt. Oh look, the little freak's gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you? Wants you dead? Kaine, go and kick his ass. Kaine prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods and they chose to ignore her as Dimio crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I'm useless, a failure. Someone get this poor girl a hug. I wish Dimios' rock had taken my head off. Kaine couldn't meet Dimios' leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forward until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. Someone needs to get the boy a mint. The boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upwards. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelids to pry it open. Show me. No. Did you just say no? Demure grinned evilly. You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Everyone should say no to you. Not even taking his attention from Kaine, he called for his cohorts. Come on, guys, let's give this freak what she deserves. As soon as Demure's finished kicking and blows began to rain down upon Kaine. Demure's paused, still grinning, as Kaine crawled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows what you really are. Slap him. Someone slap this boy. Kaine ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. It continued to point east as it supremely confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home. Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone who's dead parents and no home to go to. Freak, chanted the children. Freak, freak, freak. Kaine closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she beat her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it become her world. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kaine was shocked to see Demure sprawled on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. Serves what he gets. She could see the blood swelling from space between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's crying. He's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves, as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began an uneasy shuffle away from Kaine. But the young girl was the last of their concern. Instead, their attention wrapped on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a voice thick with rage. Hurts like a bitch, don't it? Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. And if any of you little bastards ever touch my Kaine again, I'll do far worse than throw rocks. Rock. You can count on it. The old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand of Demure was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth Ooh, someone finally getting what they deserve. Ow! He screamed. Leaping to his feet. Stop it! What are you doing? Quit whining. Ain't no one ever died from a scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch. A big one. That thing could have killed me. The old woman shrugged. Death is the best cure for stupidity. Dimio's face twisted with rage at her words. Locking his eyes on Kaine, he kept a step backwards and spat on the ground. Get out. Leave the village. No one wants you here, either of you. Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Dimios and his companions turned tail and ran. Well, someone can't really finish what they started now, can they? As they fled, the old woman grabbed her sides and barked out a single laugh. Ha! Look at the fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight. The woman smiled fade as she turned her attention to Kaine. Kneeling down, she removed her shawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulder, then produced a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting at the blood on her forehead. Oh, bolting. Oh, Kaine, she said. Why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that lot. That's what I'm saying. She could have fought back and kicked their ass easily. The words of her grandmother stunned Kaine, and she turned away. Don't be nice to me, she said. I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears held in her cheek for so long finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As Kaine's tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hand on her shoulder. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempt the crossing, and it grants no mercy to any that attempts the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman's tightened her grip and tried to steal the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine? You know because you survived it. As the words hit home, Kaine was struck by a force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know of her grandmother, but when her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kaine called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence. Sounds like a fun woman. And their first few years together had not been easy. But with each year that passed, Kaine and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud, with tears and blood cracking her face, that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Course not. Don't be an ass. Oh, Kaine drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body, it's not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't... Hush! Interrupt Grandma. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you. And if folks have a problem with that, they can just go to hell. It's a grandmother we all need. Someone who loves you for anything. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kaine's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stem or losing a single petal was remarkable. And the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are lunar tears. Grandma, you made this for me? Lunar tears were legendary flowers most people could live their entire lives without even seeing one. And yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as if she could believe it was real. Where did you find these? Just stumbled on them while I was out doing my shopping. The old woman turned away and she spoke, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. Aww, it's a lovely grandma. The pins she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kaine's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said her grandmother. As she squinted at it, these old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Kaine blushed and turned away. Aww. You think I'm pretty? Yes. Moving on. Course you are, you foolish thing. What a foolish thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandmother smiled. You're going to be fine, you and me, she said. Long as we got each other, we'll be fine. Kaine took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kaine gripped the hand with her might as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. The rain had stopped. Kaine stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Aww. Even if it's us against the world. Kaine let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hit of a rainbow was slowly fading as she turned and headed for home. The light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on the breeze. In the distance, Kaine heard the steady sound of an axe striking wood. The noise had a purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master woodsman go about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was as far from a work of art as could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barnyard with wild abandoned. Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. Stupid piece of shit axe. Kaine's grandmother failed away with the axe, flinging the air with both splinters of wood and words that would make the most hardened sailor blush. Ooh. Grandma, called Kaine. That you, Kaine? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Don't get too close, or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. Ah, silly Grandma. She brought the axe down on a piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One span past Kaine close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. Once she scuttled to safety at a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma! Do you need help? I can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something. The axe, poised to strike another wobbly blow, paused in midair. The woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job of chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? Shades have been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the more difficult of the two jobs, but Kaine knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Kaine did her best to help with the chores, but Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of possible excuses, Kaine knew the real reason. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Yeah, I can see that. Once Kaine moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance away from the area. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers. And her granddaughter, rare were the days where any but the two of them could be found on the rocky arc of land they call home. Kaine enjoyed the solitude, but harbored a secret resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. After watching her grandmother leave, Kaine turned her attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing of the axe, produced only a thick crack in the wood, and a tiny crack in the wood when she finally managed to connect with the solid stroke. The tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kaine swung the axe around her head and threw it, long log and all, across the yard. Damn it, damn it. Ah, crap. I can just imagine her getting pissed off when she just throws it. She suddenly understands the joy of her grandmother felt in a good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe, forced it from the wood and resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with a blade, but the task was challenging and blisters soon began to form on her small pink hands. Well, we do definitely know her skill with the blade. This is tough, and my logs are all weird sizes. Spitting on her palms, ignoring the pain, Kaine, her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Sitting down her buckets with a small sigh, she took one look at the log and coughed out a wheezy laugh. Pretty clumsy, girl. You better practice it if you... Her grandma suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kaine dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma? The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket. Can't let it spill. Kaine steadied the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress. But Kaine didn't notice. Grandma? Grandma, what happened? What's happening? Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulder and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kaine away. Stop that! Just stop! She cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the tripper is all. Kaine desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more than words could. Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was finally coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kaine was ending, sooner than either of them had feared. Position would be reversed. The next morning, Kaine came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkly hand. Grandma, you're sick and you need medicine. I'm going to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise. But Kaine gently pushed her down. It's all right, she said. I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, god damn it, but I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as Kaine strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across a dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kaine moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade or worse, Demion and his gang. It's pronounced Demion or Damien. Sounds similar. But she encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kaine finally found herself at the entrance of the village. The few adults she could glance sideways at her, the few adults she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before slinking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kaine took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I have to prove to myself I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a round old woman who was angrily waving her arms in the air, telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought Kaine presents. "Hey lady," said Kaine with a bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary?" The woman's flabby cheeks shook in bewildering anger. How dare this thing speak to me? This seemed to say, but Kaine saw her eyes held a different emotion. Fear. "Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one." "Which way?" Kaine repeated. The woman pointed a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off into the other direction. Kaine cringed, expecting a stone to be coming flying from the assembling crowd, but none came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary. But the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened her door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Diamond. He clearly had been sent here on some kind of family errand because his gang of followers was nowhere to be found. "Oh my god," he spluttered. "I mean, what are you doing here, freak?" The insult was delivered without force, and Kaine happily ignored it, stretching on tippy toes to see over the counter. She asked the shopkeeper for the medicine. "Ha ha ha!" barked Diamond. That old bitch finally keeling over. "Go to hell, Demion." The boy's eyes grew so wide that they seemed ready to fall out of his head. But before he could let fly a comeback, or worse, a punch, the apothecary told them to knock it off before he kicks them out. of the store. Demian sulked out the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he had gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medicine. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label written in it. In some indescribable language, an ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a sense that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kaine a sense of peace. Surely in a world so vast there would be a place that she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter rests a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colours, but time had worn its cruel magic and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You like the picture? Kaine turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad. They seemed to stare through her into nothing as he spoke. That's my daughter. I sketched it when she was just a little girl. She's been dead a long time now. Aww, poor thing. Kaine didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the portrait and tried to come up with the right words. Pictures are wonderful things, continued the shopkeeper. They let the ones closest to you live on forever. He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kaine and smiled, handing her medicine. He reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. You should have these. There's no one left that I'd wish to draw. Kaine took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. Yes, I've heard the rumours about you, he said. It's a small village and the word travels quickly. Between you and me, I'm not so sure which one of them to believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother, Khalil, and I think the way she was driven out of this town is just deplorable. Grandma's name is Khalil? Thought Kaine suddenly. She was still mulling this new fact over in her head. Her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hand. Your grandmother's an old friend of mine, he said as Kaine scooted away yet again. I owe her much. I wager she would like it if you drew a picture of her. Yes, I think she would like that very much. Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but instead of her heart was bursting, never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost impeccable step, but it was a step nonetheless. And with enough tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returns home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places. leading Kaine to think that she had been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed her medicine in her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hands clasping around her arm. "Back already, are you?" asked her grandmother. With a yawn? Asked her grandmother with a yawn. "Come here, let me have a look at you." Grandma sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe. Finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild, she leaned back and allowed herself to relax. "Well, how was it? Those bastards give you any trouble?" "It was kind of fun," said Kaine with a small smile. "No, seriously, it was." "Fun, eh?" asked grandmother in a voice which implied she believed anything but. "Uh-huh. So anytime you need me to go run an errand, just let me know." As she spoke, Kaine removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of their source, she informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch a portrait. "A portrait of me? Ridiculous! No one wants to stare at a wrinkly old crone." "But Grandma, it'll make you live forever." "Horse shit," said grandmother, throwing back the sheet from her bed. "Living forever would just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help with dinner." But Kaine would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house, as if posing for a master artist. Kaine took up the crayons, eyed her subject carefully, and set to work. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kaine finished the piece after straggling at it for a bit. She released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. "It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all." "I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make drawing easy or something." The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. "Let me be the judge of that," she said, ignoring the pain in her back, and reached for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colours. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly wheezed out a laugh. "Oh, Kaine," she said between laughter, "you truly are my blood. You're as clumsy as me and I love it. But hush, won't hear any more bull out of how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart and I'll treasure it always." True to her word, the old woman gave the picture a place of honor above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as a smile, mocking laughter. A week later, Kaine could stand it no more and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. "Posh," said the old woman. "I'll take it down when they roll me into the shroud." She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kaine and dropped to one knee. "Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy, and in a way I never felt before. And it makes me want to go on so that someday you can feel the same happiness." It was a moment that burned itself into Kaine's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on, people and memories move in and out of a life like ghosts passing through a hall. But this moment will be difficult, Kaine swore, because I will remember it forever. Forever? Separation. Uh-oh. Don't like the sound of that. Kaine listened to the sound of the crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemusement stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp bite flew up her nostrils and made its home there, causing her face to twitch with disgust. Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug. The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. It's not a bug, you foolish girl. It's a berry. The hell would I be feeding you bugs? Yeah, well, it sure looks like a bug, said Kaine, and I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible. With that, Kaine held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, chewing as little as possible. Oh yeah, that's terrible, all right. Why, you little brat, laughed the old woman. Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact. 5 years have passed since that moment when Kaine's grandmother saved her from the bullies, and it's often the way with two stubborn people. Their relationship had grown into but moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be sober after affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. Kaine could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the years went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities her grandmother's legs grew weak by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. And so this moment found Kaine lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burned berries rolling through her belly. Where are you going today? Asked Grandma suddenly. Kaine looked up surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specifics anymore. Well, I was gonna check out Kelma tree and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, I'm gonna pick up some flagstones, so I need to take a wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What in hell for? Kaine started at her grandmother, then held out an arm and swept it around the home. Construct mostly of cloth and rope and rubble. The old place sagged like a box in the final round. Grandma, a dying cat could chew through this house, I'm gonna build a stone wall so we have some protection." The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. "God damn it, girl, if a bunch of thieves were to ransack this old place, let 'em. We got nothing worth stealing anyway." "I'm not worried about thieves, I'm worried about shades. People saw one west of the village yesterday." The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. "Well, shoot, I don't know why you have to do it today. We can worry about it some other..." "Grandma, no. If I don't go to the Kelma tree, we won't eat tonight, you know that." A confused expression passed across the old woman's face, and for a moment she was a smiling child lost at a carnival. "Yes," she said after a bit. "Yes, of course, you're right. I'm sorry, Kaine. Lately, it seems my mind is..." She didn't finish that thought, instead walked over to her nightstand and gently taking the wreath of lunar tears from the drawer. The flower's petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kaine thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. "You're gonna be a true woman soon," Grandma said, as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair. "So that means less chatting about shades and building, I'm guessing buildings, defensive walls, and more talk about how beautiful you've become." "I can agree to that." Annoyed, Kaine reached up to remove the garland, but the look of her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing," said the old woman, "and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you." "Okay, Grandma, that's enough. Enough goddamn compliments for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did that come from?" "You, Grandma!" "Gee, I wonder." "I'll teach you to sass me, girl," yelled Grandma. Suddenly she lurched forwards and grabbed Kaine by the ear, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. "Grandma!" yelled Kaine in a quirky voice. "Grandma, stop it! What the hell?" The old woman stared at her, blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it was the first time she'd ever seen them. "Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just..." Kaine thought that she looked at her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. "Listen," she began. "Maybe I should stay home after all." "No, I won't have you stay here to keep an eye on an old codger like me. You go get your fruits and your walls and whatnot. I'll be fine. And when you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you." Gonna make her eat those bugs after all. Kaine rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead, and made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that would again at the wall of her heart. Kaine couldn't feel the old woman's eyes watch her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself. But in the end, the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel for one last final look and saw a smile-beaten woman standing in front of a ramshack hut with a sad expression on her face. Gods, she looks so old now. It's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kaine worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruits she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kaine pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crests the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed into its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruits rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by the thick black cold that hovered just ahead, tracing its path with a finger. Kaine suddenly felt her stomach knots in on itself. No, oh God, no! Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma! Grandma! Kaine ran then faster than she ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling into a rocky ground, but she leapt onto her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilt from her wound, hands and knees. As she got closer and closer, Kaine's mind began to race, in times with her footfalls. It's too dark. It's too dark. Not just fine. Can't be fine. Too much smoke. Gotta save her. Gotta save her. But bursting into the front yard and came to a sudden halt. Her worst suspicions confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet. The arched balanced through menins of a large armored tail. Scarlet horns and claws sprouted from its body in a random, chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. I haven't read this much since I was in secondary school. Seeing Kaine, it let out a roar and flickered its tail, sending a small whirlwind spring around the yard. For a moment, the creature returned into a shimmering, inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotten meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kaine responds with a scream of her own. "Alright, you bastard," she thought as she screamed, echoed off the high cliffs around them. "It's you or me, let's go." The shade eyed Kaine with a bemused interest. Then it began looking for her to the house and back again. as if urging her to look at the destruction it had so gracefully wrought. With dread building in her heart, Kaine glanced towards the house. Through the smoke and flames, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. "Grandma?" At the sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. "She's alive," thought Kaine. "Alive!" Kaine's legs sprang to life as she raced across the yard towards the flaming wreck of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth, letting out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. The blast sent Kaine tumbling through the air before smashing against the rocky earth, stars dancing in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. "Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up now!" As Kaine struggled to her feet, the shades stomped towards the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with a whip, the tip of a claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might as well have been pushing the mountains. She coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Kaine lurched to her feet, only to fall back to the earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire. One or both of them were surely broken. Ignoring the pain that screamed through her body, she began to drag herself across the ground, leaving the drunken tale of dusk and blood in her wake. Drunken? I have no idea what that means. "Grandma! Hold on! Just a little longer!" Her grandmother's face was turning blue. Her eyes rolled back until only the whites were exposed. Kaine pulled herself across the ground with a maddening slowness, the distance seeming to increase with every second pause. The shades glanced between the two women and flicked out its tongue. Its giant mouth turned up at the corners. Short's panting breath belched from somewhere deep inside its core. "Bastards! Laughing at us." She had no idea how such a mindless creature could express emotion, but there could be no doubt that the shade was taking joy in their suffering. "Yeah, I see your plan." The shade moves its claw slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff out her life when Kaine was close enough to touch her. "I'm going to kill this bastard." Summoning all her strength, Kaine rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap of her right ankle as the foot twisted backwards, but she forced it from her mind and began to hobble towards the monster. Pulling a small knife from the pouch at her waist, she leapt onto the ground that pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon deep. "Give her back!" she screamed. "Give her back to me!" It was like stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke and the hilt with a dull snap. The shade painted laughter again, then raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air towards the young girl that was launched to its foot. Kaine never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreck of their home. As she laid on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small weak voice spoke out. Kaine. Kaine's vision blurred, but she forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough from her to make out her grandmother's hand, reaching out to her through the smoke. Grandma? Kaine, you gotta run. You can't beat this one. Kaine grabbed the hands and held on with all her strength. Grandma, come on, we have to go. The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kaine's grasp and trumped to the ground below. Grandma, no, no! I said run, god damn it! You have to. You have to live. You have to get through. The thought would stay forever unfinished. Before she could say another word, that the shade's clawed foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed from gaps in the creature's toes, and as the terrible putrid smell assaulted Kaine's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that what she was seeing could possibly be real. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remains underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. Her grandmother was gone. Kaine blinked, trying to feel the hand which had been in hers just moments before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of her embrace and trembling of the fingers. But then the sensation drifted away on the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed through Kaine's mind, one after the other, faster and faster until they became meaningless jangle of noise. Kaine screamed, then a thunderous sound that echoed off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shades eased forwards, black ichor pouring from its mouth and dissolving into smoke on the ground below. The earth shook with every step as it crept towards its prey. Kaine's body slowly rose as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms, her legs were bent at impossible angles. Her head lolled dangerously to one side, yet somehow she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes began to glow with a deep red fire. The creature, so confident just moments before, took a slow, hesitant step backwards, trying to discern if the broken human could possibly pose a threat. Kaine seized the moment, laughing like a madwoman. She leapt into the air, plunged the shattered hilt of her knife deep into the legs of the shade. The shade shook Kaine off like a fly, sending her crushing to the earth once again. Her chest rose and fell slowly as if a giant weight were resting on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind. Something warm and thick oozes from her ears. Is that blood? Think it is. Think I'm bleeding to death. No, I can't die. Can't. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kaine's mind, something finally broke. The sound, the pain, the smoke, the flames, all of it faded away until all that remained was a single incantation repeating over and over again. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. It's all going all Eren Yeager on us on Titans. Kill it, 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 kill it. Yep, definitely going Eren Yeager and Titans. Kill it now! As the spark that was Kaine slowly began to flicker and die, she felt her desire to kill and her desire to live blend into one. The distance between heart beating grew longer and longer and longer. Oh good, are we done? Oh. Can I pause? No, I can skip, but I can't pause. I want to apologise if you had to put up with my reading. I'll probably put a skip thing at the beginning if you want to skip it.
The beast approaches. Oh, I know.
Oh, I can finally take a bit of a break from reading, I suppose. Drink my water. Finally get into some action as well. Yeah. Just gotta take out these tentacles.
What anger this creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
That's what I want to know. What has it been eating?
It dies today. My sword is lighter. It's not the blade, but the skill of the user. Strike it down.
It has been a while since I've played this. I'm gonna have to check what weapons I have. Good. Here. Move out of this corner. Thank you. Now, I can do this. You done? Give me your blood! And face my hands of justice. Oh, it likes being choked. Kinky thing. Ew. Someone's gonna have to clean that up. It ain't gonna be me. Hi, Emil. Is Sleepyhead still okay? More reading. Alright, once this gets on YouTube, there's another timestamp if you want to skip listening to me read. I do apologize. Gently, weakly, softly. The shade sure The shade, sure that its torment was dead, turned and stomped off towards the horizon, stomping along the way to blow one final roar. Couldn't kill it. Shamed beyond imagining, Kaine tried to turn her head to the side, but only succeeding in coughing up a huge gout of blood. It was getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fearsome concentration did she realize that her left eye was gone. Laughing to herself, she turned her remaining eye to the ruins of her home and noticed a ragged stump of arms resting a few feet away. Yeah, they're mine, she thought, with a mad giggle. This is gonna make a clapping a real bitch. I get it. Ha ha! Cried a sudden voice from deep within her mind. Finally gonna die, are ya? Well, you had it coming. Go to hell, Demio, she thought at the unseen assailant. Go to hell before I pluck out your eyes and feed them to a dog. The voice of her childhood terror erupted into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still, said the apparitions, mattering from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you that way you can live forever. No, stop. Don't want to live forever. Want to die right here. I see, he said quietly. Well, if that's what you want. The spectral shopkeeper fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and a sketch quickly. After a few seconds, he turned the paper towards Kaine and smiled. Since you reject my offer, I decided to draw someone else. It was a picture of her grandma, real as life. Kaine opened her mouth to thank the man, but stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle. Before she could say anything, dozens of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing at it with a sharpened pincers. Stop! No, don't hurt the picture. Kaine reached out with her remaining arm and waved fruitfully at the air. To her surprise, the insects fell off the picture onto the ground below, where they vanished into tiny black tendrils of smoke. Revealed, Kaine turned her good eye back to the picture, only to open her mouth in a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandmother as she truly was, a smashed, unrecognizable lump of nothing. The apothecary smiled, then broke into a joy dance. See that? He cried as he danced his jig. It's perfect now. He looks just like you. Ha ha. Cha, cha, cha. I look like that? Oh God. Oh God. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Drowning in despair, Kaine laid her head back in the mud and smoke of her ruined home and waited for the end to come. But just before she could let everything go, An unfamiliar voice began whispering in her ear. Ain't you got a wish, sunshine? The voice was vulgar and France at the same time, as if insanity had somehow found a way to take form. Kaine wanted to scream as the voice crawled under her skin, but her lungs refused to work. You know, a wish, like a prayer or something. Why don't you get on your knees and start praying to the heaven? Please, invisible man in the sky, save me! Save me! Ha ha. Kaine finally restored to shouting at the voice with her mind. Don't make me wish that they didn't come true for me. I'm a curse, a freak. I should be left to die. The other voice boomed in her ears. Bah ha 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 ha! Oh God, you're the best! Kaine glanced down and saw a black shiny substance oozing from her legs. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm would no longer respond. The substance slowly crept around her feet and then began moving up towards the rest of her body. Is this death? Is this what it's like? Or is my mind just losing itself? She could feel the slime oozing upwards, feel the hot, searing pain it left in its wake. Whatever else might be happening, she was still alive, and this was real. Come on, said the voice. Let it go. Kaine tried to ignore the voice and concentrate on the pain, but the newcomer would have none of it. Don't ignore me, sunshine. You're ready to give up? Ready to die? So why not let me have it? Have what? Your body. Come on, give it to me, give it to me. I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind. The voice paused, as if licking its lips. When it resumed, it was filled with mad, unbetrayed joy. And I want to take your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. I want to tear out their throats and bathe in their blood just like before. In response, Kaine shifted her head and vomited. The warmth of it crept down her front and mingled with the pain of the encroaching black ooze. Are you a shade? Yeah, maybe. What of it? The smile reached her face, crept up past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of her missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kaine was struck by the most painful sensation she had ever felt in her life. It was ecstasy. Most powerful. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small whispered moan. Feels good, doesn't it? Asked the voice with a chuckle. Yeah, what can I say? I know how to pleasure the ladies. Now give me that body. Come on, give me the body. I'll give you more of the feeling. It's a fair trade. A black lump began to produce from Kaine's side as she watched it grow longer and thicker, eventually taking the form of her missing arm. I can't see I can see better, she thought. My eye must have grown back too. The slime reached up to the envelope the rest of her face. Enveloped the rest of her face, but she managed to brush it away. Stop, she whispered, marveling at how she had regained her voice. Stop! The black ooze hesitated as it considered this request, then quickly shimmered down her body before disappearing in the clouds of smoke. Ah, what the hell, Sunshine? Screamed the voice. We had a deal. I thought you wanted to die. Grandma said I can't die yet. A brief image of her grandmother, bloodied and broken, flashed before her eyes. She saw the shade that she had killed her, had killed her, and heeded its mocking laughter, then closed her eye and forced the image from her mind. Her whole body was quaking with rage. When she opened her eyes again, they burned bright red. That thing took my grandmother. I have to kill it before I die. Kaine glanced down and saw a mysterious pattern, the pattern of the shades, burned into her left arm. Well, I'll be damned, says the voice cheerfully. Look at that, Sunshine. I think you and me are gonna be good friends now. Kaine stared intently at her arm. The more emotional she felt, the more the letters seemed ready to puncture her skin and begin infecting the rest of her body. The arm clearly had a will of its own now. Stop! Gotta stop! Holding her left arm in her right, Kaine took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Come on, don't fight it, pleaded the voice. Hate my favorite dish. I'm hungry. Oh, hates my favorite dish and I'm hungry. Let's go feel the anger, burn with fire of revenge. Thirst for blood, then go out there and shut up and get the hell out of my body. Your body? Oh, that's rich, Sunshine. Real rich. Look, why don't you just up and die so I can have your body all to myself? What do you say? I bet those buddies of yours in the area would love to see you dead. Kaine grabbed a nearby shard of glass and tried to saw the shade infected portions of her sides. Before she could, her darkened left arm grabbed her right wrist, crushing it. Kaine screamed and dropped the shard as the sound of bone crushing on bone filled the air. Kahaha, stupid idiot girl. You're possessed now, Sunshine, and there ain't no going back. The voice laughed again, and loud, long will that seemed to go on without end. Possessed, whispered Kaine. Yeah, possessed. You and me, we got what you might call time-shared arrangement. Remember how folks used to think you were a freak? Well, wait till they get a load of you now. Kaine looked up, tears in her eye. The sky seemed familiar somehow. Darker. Is this because of the shade? Is this how they see the world? So, listen, purred the voice. I know this whole possession thing seems a bit sudden, but it ain't bad, all bad. There's plenty of it for you too. I'm a very powerful creature, Sunshine. and now the power belongs to you. You got enemies? People you want to kill? I can make it happen. The little fat kid who kept picking on you? That big old shade that squished your granny? Well, wrap 'em up with their own assholes. No more abuse for you, sunshine, no more pain. Wait, said Kaine. You're a shade. Why would you help me kill other shades? What do you think? I'm some kind of racist? Some kind of snob? I don't give a good damn who you murder or honey pants. Never heard that expression before. I just want to drink from the well. Kaine considered this as she struggled to her feet, the power of the shades coursing through her. The smoke from her house was drifting away, and the wind and she enjoyed the way the cool evening breeze felt on her left arm. After a long pause, the voice spoke up again. So, how about it? You and me, we could have a good time together. Look, I'll even take care of the body part if you don't want. Fuck off, asshole, muttered Kaine. I'll handle the killing. K-ha-ha-ha-ha, screamed the voice. Look at you go. Oh, sunshine, we're gonna have so much fun. So listen, my name is Tyrion, and if you ever need me, I'll just be hanging out in the pieces of your meat you call a heart. Now get to it. The more you kill, the more your heart turns rotten and sour, and I like 'em rotten and sour. Kaine found herself nodding at the voice. Yeah, she said. Yeah, I think this can work. I'm gonna find that shade and I'm gonna strangle it with its own guts. And when I'm done, I'm gonna do the same to you, Tyrion. Count on it. Tyrion, Tyran, either or. Haha, says Tyrion. Oh, I've shit bigger than you, so good luck with that. Oh, and hey, one more thing. Right now, you and me are sharing this body. But if you ever run out of hate, if you ever, go soft, then I'm gonna take over everything. So keep on killing, sunshine, and watch your back. The voice grew faint and gradually faded away, fading somewhere deep within Kaine herself. Kaine waited until she was sure that the voice was gone, then waved her left arm around a few times. It feels perfectly normal, she thought. It feels like mine. Desperately, she began poking and prodding at the new limb, determined to find something wrong with it. She didn't want to feel normal, the way that would mean that the creature inside her had already won. I'm no shade, I'm Kaine. Repeating this mantra in her mind, she slowly began digging through the rubble of her house, being careful to ignore a certain red stain spotted in the corner. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of heartbreaking work, she found what she was looking for. It was a wreath of lunar tears. Though it had been through hell and back, the garland's petals were as bright as ever. Kaine started to place it in her hair, then slowly lowered the wreath and stared at it. I'm sorry, Grandma. I'm sorry, but I don't deserve to wear this anymore. I'm possessed, corrupted, a freak. And this time, I don't think there's any going back. Holding the flowers in her heart, Kaine fell to the ground and sobbed, As night gradually lighted to dawn, and the people of the area arose to their daily lives. How does it have a... I thought this game doesn't have a day-night cycle, considering the world in this game is supposedly tidal locked, so the Earth isn't rotating. So how is there a day-night thing? Okay, never mind. The area arose to their daily lives. She remained in the position as if tears could somehow wash away the horror that now infects her world.
Alive. Stay alive. Stay alive.
Grandma.
No, it's me, Emil!
Kaine, you gotta live. You gotta come back to us.
Yeah! Hey, sleepyhead.
Oh, hey.
How you doing? Aww. Give the boy a hug. He wants a hug.
Emil, you were the one calling me, weren't you?
Maybe.
You still recognize me?
Of course. I knew you right away.
Aww.
Thank you.
That's
Kaine.
nice. Ba, ba,
Welcome
ba.
back, Kaine.
Wow. You grew up.
Shit, he's hot!
So, how long has it been?
5 years.
Really? You must be hungry. Damn, he is hot now, she's thinking. Okay.
Shit. That's a long time.
Yep.
Any luck with Yonah?
Nope.
We are still no closer to finding her. We need a way to locate the Shadow Lord.
What he said.
By the way, this is for you.
Is that a lunar tear?
It's not as good as your grandmother's, but I tried.
No, it's great. Thank you.
Aww. And here comes Devila and Popola to ruin the whole thing.
Kaine waking from her long petrified sleep. Emil's unflagging kindness. Our reunion was a happy one, and we let it wash over us like rain. That is, until Devila and Popola had to go and ruin it all.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? You can't be serious!
Please, try to understand. People are tired and scared, and... I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to bear the brunt of that.
This is crap, and you know it!
It's okay. We can sleep outside.
Can't he have... Doesn't he have, like, leverage of just, you know, being the hero of the village? You know, give him a bit of special treatment? Take his word for it, they're good people?
No one's sleeping outside. You and Kaine saved this village, and now they want to run you out?
Apparently so.
People are afraid of us. And really, I understand. I mean, look at me.
You look fine, Emil.
As long as you're still with us, I can deal with it. Right, Kaine?
I'm used to sleeping outside.
But
We'll see you later.
Sorry about this.
You're not sorry, really.
What is the matter?
Kaine always sleeps outside. I never thought about that until just now. Never even occurred to me. Damn it.
We should turn in.
Yes, you are a bad friend.
didn't get much sleep that night. For the first time in my life, I hated Devila. For the first time in my life, I doubted Popola. But those feelings are pointless in the end. They said and did what they did for the sake of the village. To protect it from the horror of the Shades. Really, how can I blame Devila and Popola? In the end, I'm just as bad. Because I never once stopped to think about Kaine and Emil's situation myself.
That's what I'm saying. You could have, I don't know, had a bit of leverage, you know, hero of the village, ask for a favor or two. Ah, this seems new. I think.
I should apologize to Kaine and Emil. But what good would that even do?
I don't know. At least they get something.
I got a fire going, Kaine.
Wait, is that?
Campfires are weird, aren't they?
Campfires are
I'm so
weird.
happy to get to talk to you again, Kaine.
Aww.
Yeah, me too.
I tried everything I could think of to save you, you know. I polished you with a special cloth. I poured warm water over you.
Wait, you poured water on me?
Yeah, but it didn't really do much except make you all shiny.
Aww. Maybe that's why she's called Sunshine.
Hey, Emil. Thanks for saving me.
I guess you noticed how I look different now.
I'm sorry, Emil. I'm sorry for all of it.
Well, I mean, this new form isn't all bad, you know? At least I can look at you when we talk, right? Hey, so why don't you tell me something about yourself?
I'm not very interesting. Sorry.
Bullshit.
Come on, I just want to know you better. Please?
Fine. This all happened when I was a kid, before the whole shade possession thing. My body is different. And when the villagers found out about it, they started treating me like a freak. But one person, my grandmother, accepted me just as I was. No matter how bad things got, she gave me the strength to keep going.
She's really special to you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, hey! That gives me an idea.
What is it? Tell us your idea.
Since we cured your petrification, we should start looking for a way to cure your possession in my body.
Do you know where we can start looking?
I know we can do it if we all work together.
Right.
Heck, it'll probably be super easy.
Let me guess. More warm water?
And the cloth. Don't forget the cloth.
Okay, can we just forget I told you about that?
Where's Weiss?
Sleep well?
Sure.
And yet your red eyes tell a different tale. Don't be so hard on yourself, lad.
I need to go see Devila and Popola.
Very well.
No. Okay. I think, isn't this the... Ah, no, that's the money. Ah, I'm guessing this section is the thingy book, but I think we'll check that out in some other time. As of right now, I need to remember what the buttons are. Let's get a move on then.
Hey,
Hey.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I kinda thought you'd never talk to us again.
Well, yeah, but after we fought it over, we thought we'd give you another
I
chance.
understand you're doing this for the village, and that you don't have a choice.
Pretty much, yeah. But look, why don't you go talk to Popola? I think she wanted to discuss the Shadow Lord with you.
Okie dokie.
I'm headed there next. Oh, and Devila,
Yeah?
sorry about yesterday. I shouldn't have lost my temper like that.
You don't need to apologize. Anyone would be upset when their friends are hurting. Let Emil and Kaine know that we're sorry, alright?
All right.
I will let them know. First, we better head off and get our message from the Shadow Lord. You still pining over Popola?
I decided a long time ago that Popola was too important and beautiful to worry about shades and the like. That's why I dedicated my life to protecting her. She trusts me to keep the library secure. So maybe someday she'll trust me with, other things.
False hope is better than no hope at all, I suppose.
Ew. Popola! We come to apologize.
Popola?
Short sword.
Oh. Hello.
Hi.
Look, I want to apologize for
Stop. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, but neither did you. You're just trying to protect the villagers. And I jumped down your throat for it.
It's very kind of you to say so. Regardless, please don't let it trouble you.
Okay.
Ahem. I believe there was something you wished to discuss with us.
Oh, right. Yes, about that. You know about the lost shrine, right?
Yeah.
The temple where I was first discovered.
That's it. Well, it seems that the Shadow Lord's lair is connected to it somehow.
Ooh.
Oh ho. It was right under our pages the whole time.
But the bridge that leads there is unusable.
That was a bit quiet, or was that just me? One sec.
So take a boat.
Or it might have just been the line.
A boat?
Yeah.
Yes, the canal's finally been repaired.
Ooh.
It took a lot longer than expected, what with the shades and all. I also asked them to provide a boat at the path to the Lost Shrine's back entrance. The ferryman will let you use it free of charge. That should make it easier for you to move from town to town.
Right.
Thanks, Popola. I feel like you've done so much for me. I'm really grateful. All right, I'll see you around.
Bye.
And for the love of everything, be careful.
We'll try. Let us.
The path above the entrance to the shopping district should lead to the boat landing.
Right, so let's head to the boat.
How excellent to know the canal is finished. Hopefully this puts our days of running all over behind us.
Oh.
The faster we can move, the faster we can save Yonah. Let's use it as often as we need.
Yeah, but then what about a good exercise of running around? Then again, since I've done all the quests, don't think it's gonna have to run around as much. So it's mainly just, I think we just mainly just focus on the story this time round. Yeah. Then again, unless I want to go to the junkyard shop and upgrade my equipment.
Hey, look who it is! Remember me?
I bet red bag guy. You're supposed to be dead though, aren't you?
That red bag. My pages. You're the slovenly half of that couple who refused to stop arguing.
Yep.
Hey, it's been a while.
And he's dead, technically, or he's gonna die.
Sure has. I've been in charge of this canal since we last talked. Apparently I did a pretty good job with it because they decided to make me the permanent ferryman.
Or were you the only one stupid enough to take the job?
Oh yeah, huh?
Thanks. Still, it's not all puppies and unicorns. The old ball and chain is always harping on me now about how much I work.
And you never home, blah de blah de blah.
Anyway, if you got a place to be, just let me know and I'll take you there.
Take us to the back of the shrine, please. Onwards to adventure.
The Lost Shrine's up ahead, just past this cave.
As well as the Shadow Lord's castle.
Mm-hmm.
Let us make haste.
Let's go. Get there as quickly, and then we can hopefully be home in time for tea.
Hansel. What do you want? Get away, dirty, defensive swine. I'm not like you. I'm different.
Yeah, this place is sure is in better days. Alright, let's go. Over there was once a shopping mall. Probably. Up we go. Up. Again, Emil, you can fly. Why don't you pick us up and carry us? We know you have the strength inside. Pick up these things whilst we're here. Come on. Yep. Alley up. And up we go. Inside. And hopefully some bloke doesn't want us to find his treasure.
You again. Stop bothering me. Grimoire Weiss has been taken away. Hansel is dead. There's no reason for me to exist anymore. But it's over. Just leave me alone. What? I
don't know, this is what I imagine him sounding like.
Ain't you excited, sunshine? We
Oh, hi, Tyrion.
to bathe in blood.
Don't talk to me.
Okay, we're sorry.
I want to kill so bad I can barely stand it.
Stab! Come on. Ow. Come on, fight me. I forgot there's a lock on. Stab, stab, stab! Come on. Now it's your turn. Take your stabbings like a good shade. Alright. That everyone? Oh, thanks, Emil. Bye, Shade. Your turn. Come on, die, 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 die. Just stay still and take your thingos and fight me like a man. Stab, stab, stab. And give me the blood. You like the blood. And you. Come on. Stab, stab, stab. Boom, 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 boom. One. Your turn. And I'm carrying a max of health, so that's good. Through here. And the block pushing puzzles are back. They're not that difficult, at least. And back. And through this one.
This is all too easy.
Oh, I know. Hi, friends. Stab, stab, stab. Twisted ring. And I'll take this. And I can't take that. Alright, behind this door is an empty room. But behind this door it's another block pushing puzzle. Well, I say puzzle, more of an annoyance. Right, that goes this way, and then we pull this one out. And this one. Push this one through. Bring this one out. And here we go. Through this door. I don't want to turn back. Make me.
What's with these guys?
Certainly not your garden variety, Shades.
Their bodies aren't fully functional.
Say, I've heard of this. A cursed area where incomplete shades gather.
Really? Come on. Down you come. That's one. Your turn. And next. Come on, down you come. Get down. Go. Alright. We climb up even higher. Come on. Up we go. I didn't do as much damage as I thought it would. And I can't see. There we go. Ash. Yeah, why can't we control Kaine? I think it'd make a more interesting second playthrough than just playing as NieR again. I think we gotta... Yeah, because there's a hole. Gotta go around the outside ring again. And deal with the children. Come on. Come on, take your beatings. Got it? In we go. Uh-huh. And we push this one over to here. And go through the door. Push this there. Bring this down. And then we just bring this across. And alley-oop, the door opens. Oh, hi guys. No, that's not it. I want my magical abilities. Dark Lance. Whirlwind. Guillotine. No, that's not it. That is not what I wanted. I thought that said something else. What does this do? Oh, it absorbs energy attacks. This is what I wanted. Stab, 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 stab. Just charge this up and boom! Finish. There we go. Come on. Stay down. Come on. Come on. There we go. Now we can make our way up to the roof. Which is... First we deal with this guy, just in case we get some words. I still need to get more words. Son of a bitch! I did not know that could happen. Honestly, I didn't know you could be kicked all the way down to the floor. And he hasn't given me any words, the cheeky fucker.
I treated you all poorly. I mocked you, betrayed you, all because you went gestalt before the change was complete. But after all that, I think I can understand you. I think we can speak as equals. This makes me happy. I hope you can spend the rest of our lives. What's that?
It's me. Hi. We come to kill you. Alright. Come on. Let's go kill that thing.
Kaine, I mean... Look, from now on, I'm going to sleep outside with you.
Why?
To be
I can't
fair.
accept that you aren't allowed in the village. It's stupid.
And I jump
So
off the
you're
side.
staging a protest? Fun.
Don't waste your time.
But it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that's really nice of you, but you still don't have to stay out here with us.
Emil,
You got a super important mission. You can't sleep out in the rain. What if you catch a cold?
It's just a
Besides,
cold.
I like camping with Kaine. Sometimes we sit around the fire and tell stories, or roast...
Emil, that's enough. I got a fucking image to maintain.
Yeah. She wants to pretend she's a hard ass when really she's just a delight. Okay. And it's time to have a bath. And then there's a shortcut box I put somewhere. Unless this is it, and I just have to push it over. There we go. Right.
we seem to be surrounded by a mob of helpless puppies.
Hello.
Kick him aside.
Oh, that's not very nice. I like to shoot these things. Come on. Oh yeah, I forgot I have a block button. Yeah, we can shoot back at you. Come on, just die already. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna have an end here. Hopefully there's enough for an episode. Sorry about my horrible reading. And if you're watching this on YouTube, consider following me on Twitch, where we can chat and have some fun stuff. And you can watch me fuck up live. Alright, bye.